So I mentioned the other day that we wanted to add a Lightburn camera to the printer and I found this company called Smoke and Mirrors. Never heard of them before. And I also noticed they sell the inline flow sensor switch that this Red Dragon RDL 4040 uses, so I actually ordered one of those. It seems like it could be an unreliable component, considering it was faulty when the machine was delivered. So for 10 quid I thought we'll fit that and we'll have a backup then. So we're going to have a quick look at what have we got here. Yeah, just some well, they sell lenses, mirrors, all sorts. So there's that. We have a well, that's funny, isn't it? That's a Red Dragon. We have a that is the camera with USB lead. We have some more stickers. It's a nice touch. Smoke and mirrors, all sorts of stickers. So yeah, that is good. One thing I would say is on their website I couldn't really see any indication of delivery time, but this has come out within 2 days. It came out first class signed for. So considering they were on strike yesterday, this has pretty much come next day. But let's have a look at this flow sensor. So there we go. This looks exactly the same as the one that is fitted. I hope it is. I haven't obviously removed the other one yet. So I mean, it looks like it's some sort of rotary impeller. I don't know whether you're going to be able to see into there or not. And then again that side supplied with the ends with the silicon seals inside. The direction of flow is marked on there with an arrow. The cables, I mean, not massively long. In this particular machine, these are just crimped together with some other wires that go off to the control board. I would rather have that with a you know, into some sort of block connector that's mounted on the wall of the machine, so it makes for easier changing if this does go wrong. Actually, it looks to me like that. Oh, no, it's not a rotary anything. The water flow actually pushes that in, and that obviously moves the magnet that triggers the I guess a reed switch of some description inside there. So it's the actual pressure of the water pushing on that triggers it. It seems pretty straightforward setup. I don't see how that can fail, to be perfectly honest. The two screws here mean that this plate can move a little bit. Now that's interesting as well. I wonder if there is a range of adjustment here to reliably trigger the switch. If we just grab a meter, see if I can do this with one hand. I'm just going to put this on continuity and see if we can hold these wires. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to be honest, but let's see if we can, and then we'll just try and trigger that sensor. Yeah, there you go. So just pressing that in triggers it, and we again then get continuity. So there'll be a voltage on one side when the water flows. That will be either pulled down or allowed to go through. I don't know what the circuit is, I've not looked at it. But that's clearly working. It actually needs quite a flow blowing down that. So I wonder if we've got enough flow going through there, and in fact the flow switch isn't faulty, it's just a lack of flow. Interesting. Anyway, so for $9.95 we have a spare one of those. So I'm going to drain the water out and get around the back of the machine, drain the water out, and just unscrew this and take it out and see what the issue is with that. I mean, you clearly need to know that water is flowing. It's not something you want to guess at and overheat your CO2 tube and either shorten the life or damage it and crack it or whatever. I don't know what they do when they get overheated. It's glass, so it could in theory crack, I guess. So quite an important thing to be working properly. Okay, on to the other item, which is the camera specifically for Lightburn. Again, this looks like it's been packaged, well, it definitely has been packaged for this company, Smoke and Mirrors. We've got another full set of stickers, even a Lightburn one. So yeah, that's a nice touch, isn't it? I like, you know, little bits like that. Okay, so we have a. Oh no, I wondered about the USB connection. They have supplied quite a lengthy USB cable. I'm just going to unravel that and we'll just see how long that is. That's got to be at least 10 foot. Let's have a look. 6, 7, 8, 9. You know what? I reckon that's close to 10 foot. But notice the proprietary end. So they have fitted that little plug, and it's been done nicely. We've got heat shrink on the end there that has been done very nicely, but no issues with that. Now the actual camera module is tiny, and we're going to need to 3D print a enclosure for it. This is an 8 megapixel camera. You can see the protection over the lens. We'll be pulling that off when we're ready to go with it, but absolutely tiny, fragile board. So yes, we will be 3D printing the enclosure for it. The enclosure is in a number of pieces, so you've got one piece that this sits in, one over the top, a base that sticks to, well, you know, the back bit sticks with double-sided tape to the machine, and then you've got some adjustable knobs either end to just so you can move it in that axis or that plane and then nip it up. The design of the lid means it will be down and looking at the bed when the lid's shut, and when the lid goes right the way up it will be pointing down, and Lightburn has some very clever features that you can make use of the camera. So I can't remember the price, 70, 80 pounds I think, but it is 8 megapixel, and I suspect you're paying a little bit extra here for the brand, but it does come with a very long cable which just plugs in the end there. So yeah, so today's task I think really will be to get this flow switch put in and make sure that is working correctly. Strangely, the lasers do not, or the machine does not give you a warning. It just refuses to fire the laser when this flow switch isn't working. You would have thought some sort of warning popping up saying that the flow switch is not working. I don't know. I'd have to look at the controller circuitry and the connections to the controller to see exactly what this is plugged into. It might be wired up to pins that are expecting a normally closed condition, and when they're open it just won't allow the laser to fire without throwing up any sort of error warning. I don't know whether you can dive into menus to see, you know, what's not been triggered or what has been triggered. We'll have a look at that. And finally, the other thing I am considering, I really don't like this air assist being on as soon as you turn the machine on, because of the noise. I mean, you might have the machine on, you might be faffing around with bits and pieces. So I'm going to be looking at cutting in or breaking into the air assist wiring and fitting another switch so I can actually activate that as and when I need. It's plugged in at the back of the machine on a non-standard plug. I don't know whether it's a US plug or, you know, that type of plug. Same with the water pump, they're both plugged in the back of the machine and powered up when the machine is, whilst the water, you know, on constantly is, you know, not really a concern. I do need to know that it's working correctly, but I don't need the air assist on a lot of the time when I'm preparing stuff. So we might try and break into that cable and possibly even wire a switch into the machine. We've got a couple of spare holes, as you already know if you've been watching the other videos. So we're going to get the machine pulled out and we'll have a closer look at fitting a new flow switch.